could be any street, any town, USA. Wherever you are, you're probably part of a certain old-fashioned, homebred spirit of, well, do you mind an old-fashioned word? Let's call it neighborliness. Helping one another, sharing the load, and not minding a bit. He's a pretty good egg, this guy next door. It's a spirit demonstrated in dozens of different ways, either casually or by design. It can range from sharing the daily carpool to sharing the latest news over a clothesline. There's nothing new, of course, about this attitude. This nation was practically built by this neighborly feeling. If you look back to earlier days, you'll find the common need for protection and men acknowledging a common bond with each other in providing it. Was a young lady getting married? The cozy quilting bee started off her trousseau. A man didn't have to build his own house. Often his friends organized a roof-raising party. The classic conception of help thy neighbor was the volunteer fire department. The westward push was a group effort. The lone covered wagon would seldom make it. And so it is today, as we work together for a common cause, for a common good. Helping others is almost a natural instinct. Oh, I beg your pardon. There's been an interruption. But in today's world, we live with the continuing possibility of such interruptions as we contemplate the shape of Muscus agaricus, or poisonous mushroom. It is an ominous fact that man's knowledge allows him to obliterate his very civilization if he chooses. Modern science has provided bombers which can span continents and oceans. Guided missiles are expected to fly at supersonic speeds. Bombers can deliver the H-bomb. Missiles may have H-bomb warheads. Can the defense always stop them, as in this test? A few words about the bomb now. The A-bomb, which did this to Hiroshima, is now a mere firecracker in today's lineup of thermonuclear pyrotechnics. The explosive power delivered by all bombs dropped by U.S. planes in World War II did not equal that released by the recent test explosion of an H-bomb. How much heat does an H-bomb produce? The temperature on the surface of the fireball is as great as that generated on the surface of the sun. Small wonder, then, that an H-bomb can virtually destroy everything within a radius of 3 miles from blast center. The blast alone is capable of gouging out a hole a mile across and 175 feet deep. What does all this have to do with neighborliness, you ask? The answer is not yet obvious to enough people. The grim truth is that more than ever before in history, we must learn to help each other in the most ultimate of all objectives, survival. Key to this is civil defense. If sudden nuclear warfare should hit America, people will have to take care of themselves. The military would have a war to fight. National survival will depend on local action now, on communities training and working together. How does the community go about building an effective civil defense? It begins first on the national level in Battle Creek, Michigan, where the Federal Civil Defense Administration has established national headquarters directed by Vadel Peterson. From here stems the overall coordination and guidance for civil defense units all over America. State and local operations are integrated in a national team effort and tied in with military action. Stockpiling of supplies and equipment and the designation of critical target areas are also a federal responsibility. So let's examine a typical target city. Reading, Pennsylvania. Reading is really no different from dozens of other communities which weave business, industry, and livability into the accustomed tapestry of the American scene. We find the same hopes, objectives, and activities that are worth preserving and protecting. And in the county courthouse is the nerve center that stimulates all efforts in this direction, the Berks County Civil Defense Headquarters. Each local civil defense unit is set up by civic leaders with a steering committee to direct its activities. The executive director, Mrs. Marguerite Osman, and her secretary are its only full-time paid members among a force of 8,000 volunteers in the unit. Volunteer is the key word in this. You give of yourself and your time to the common cause. Since the program depends upon the degree of success in signing up volunteers, it is important to put the CD message before as many people as possible. The campaign must be widespread and hard-hitting. Appeals can be made by newspaper cooperation, by radio and television interviews, and by extensive poster and billboard display. If volunteers have particular skills, such as nursing or medical knowledge, typing or mechanical ability, it is recorded on his application. There is a job, however, for everyone in CD, and everyone can mean housewife, auto mechanic, banker, or young junior league matron. There's nobody who doesn't have a stake in survival, and it takes a lot of varied skills to guarantee it. But since most volunteers have to be prepared for their jobs, the biggest part of any CD unit is the training program. Berks County is typical of CD organizations all over the nation. They take it seriously. Supervised by the Red Cross and Berks County Medical Society, a class in first aid is taught the techniques needed in time of disaster. Here they set splints on a fracture. The unit's goal, at least 3,000 trained first aiders in an area of 100,000 people. This is the firing range at the Reading Pistol Club. The activity, training civil defense volunteers for auxiliary police, the instructor, an ex-police officer. When these men finish their complete course, they'll be capable of guarding power plants, bridges, water supplies, and other facilities necessary for the common good. They will also help control traffic and check possible panic. In short, these are the men who, during a morale-shattering emergency, will have a strong stabilizing effect on a jittery populace. Though in the minds of most people, civil defense brings thought of the bomb, volunteers also may be used for disasters due to cyclones, floods, or other wayward fits of nature. Readiness for any need is a dominant theme. Rescue trucks have special equipment for any emergency, and volunteers are trained in light and heavy rescue duty. On the outskirts of Reading, a special house is used for rescue drills. Mounting walls and removing injured personnel from upper floors of bombed houses would be a vital part of any rescue team's work. To show their enthusiasm, as well as preparing for any eventuality, the Berks County people have even trained rescue teams made up solely of women. A gas mask drill takes them into a house full of smoke to find the injured. Statistics prove that more civilians were killed in cities by fire in World War II than in any other way. CD firefighters, therefore, drill at special pits to learn how to smother various types of flames. This is an oil fire. This is basically wood. This is chemical. Here now is an illustration of fallout from a nuclear blast following a surface burst. Debris churned up and sucked into the air becomes radioactive. It will settle to the earth in patterns governed by wind currents, scattering a dangerous and often lethal residue over everything it touches. A blast over Washington, for instance, could set up a fallout pattern almost to New York. If you were not sheltered, a heavy enough radiation dosage could bring sickness or death. An important device to detect radiated residue is the Geiger counter. The closer it gets to contaminated material, the more violent its telltale clicking. Now here is the bell and light warning signal, probably the most important installation in the city in case of attack. In this case, the warning is received from the 26th Air Defense Division on Long Island, the FDCA Warning Center for this part of the East Coast. Lights flash the different warnings: attack probable, attack imminent, all clear. These signals are not only received here in CD headquarters, but at 15 other points in the county, any one of which can alert local CD units and set off local sirens. Such points are the Reading Fire Department, 3 hospitals in Reading, the Board of Education, and the House of Good Shepherd. But any warning attack must be followed by alerting other points. Volunteers are trained by telephone company officials to handle a battery of phones at CD headquarters, which would be staffed around the clock. Within minutes after a general alarm, operators will be on the job contacting 75 call points throughout the county, alerting them to the danger so they can mobilize their forces. If all phones are knocked out, Berks County has a backstop. This fully equipped truck, donated by local manufacturers, can take over all vital message service. Radio contact can be established from this mobile unit to police cars, fire engines, and taxis. It can also contact any of 35 private CD autos owned by amateur radio operators who can be pressed into the information setup. There is virtually no end to providing answers to the most urgent needs of communication. The Pagoda Motorcycle Club has enrolled many of its members as special CD couriers who will be able to go where no other vehicles can manage. They will also serve as auxiliary police or escorts for medical convoys. And where a cycle can't go, a horse and rider can. A survey of privately owned horses has been made, and more than 100 have been registered as available for emergency CD use. Another important survey deals with mass care centers. Surviving homeless must be taken care of somewhere. Any public building, church, or warehouse still standing will be pressed into use, and CD officials must know what facilities they have. Chief concern of mass care is feeding. With the flow of normal food supplies cut off, a careful marshaling of existing stocks is absolutely imperative. A nutrition council made up of dietitians from Albright College, the Reading School District, industry, and hospitals has already determined the type and amount of food necessary for various periods of emergency. Local doctors and nutritionists have also worked out a food survival kit, providing basic needs for one person for several days. Here now is an example of how a CD unit executes a gigantic exercise in survival. Inside these trucks are components of a 200-bed civil defense emergency hospital. The problem? To assemble at a predetermined location, because city hospitals have been bombed out. Here it will be the basement of the county home. 3 trained professionals plus 30 volunteers can set up the complete hospital in 4 hours. Swiftly, smoothly, with ordered intelligence and planning, the elements of a complete hospital flow into position and readiness. Everything in its place for instant use, including all departments, reception and sorting, central supplies, along with X-ray, surgery, pharmacy, and laboratory. It will all be there if they ever need it. And now it's done, right on the nose, in 4 hours. You see it here as direct evidence of how any American community can easily Again, the interruption, the kind that will always be possible in an uneasy world. But I was about to say, something can be done about the H-bomb. All is not lost. Survival is possible, but only if you and your neighbor are willing to help each other. They're ready here. You can be ready too. Be alert today, alive tomorrow.
You are the target of those who would trample the liberties of free men. You are in the crosshairs of the bomb sight. An enemy is centering on you. You are a citizen of the free world, a citizen of the United States of America. You may live in an industrial city, perhaps in a great port city with its burdened wharves, a farming area with fertile fields and grazing herds, a mining region rich with vital ores and minerals. You are the target. Our president has told us that even against the most powerful defense, an aggressor in possession of an effective number of atomic bombs could cause hideous damage. Today, in the age of hydrogen weapons, evacuation from target areas is our best assurance of survival. But successful evacuation takes time. If there is insufficient warning of attack, no time for organized evacuation according to plan, then you and your family must protect yourselves. Wherever you are, take cover. Whether in a private home, in an apartment, or your place of business, or in a motor vehicle, take cover. Motorists should park cars to the side of the highway. A clear lane must be kept open for emergency vehicles, fire apparatus, ambulances, engineering equipment. Now, let's look at your home. Protect it at all times. Don't permit fire hazards to collect. Unused paper and boxes, oily rags and waste, useless broken household goods. Such inflammable debris is a fire threat at any time. Think of your home as divided into connected spaces: attic, bedrooms, living room, and so on. Spaces in which your loved ones live. If you have an attic, this may be where your children play, snug and secure, but helpless, completely dependent upon you for their safety. The bedroom where an ill or handicapped member of your family may be. The living room where the aged or infirm, helpless as children, may look to you for aid. Plan and practice how to assist your family to a prepared shelter without loss of time. Plan and practice the turning off of all household appliances operated by gas or electricity. Simple insurance against some fires and explosions. If there is time, cover windows with blinds or draperies and close all outside doors, but don't lock them. Shut off the draft on coal or wood-burning furnaces and stoves. Hot coals or embers thrown about could set fire to your home. Ask your local utility companies for advice, then follow it, and tag the sources so that you can act automatically on the way to the shelter. If you have a basement, that is your best shelter against the outside wall closest to the probable point of detonation. Any high explosive force collapses a structure at its weakest point and may form a natural safe area. It is just common sense to use this area to build a lean-to shelter. This type is inexpensive and easy to build. The basement box-type shelter is stronger, larger, and more comfortable. Outdoors, you can build an earth-covered shelter which affords the best protection against blast, fire, radiation, and radioactive fallout. Detailed plans for these and other types are clearly described in the FCDA manual, Home Shelters for Family Protection. Your next step is to equip the shelter. Stock it with everyday materials with which you can face an emergency calmly. A battery radio, power may fail. Flashlights and spare batteries. First aid kit. A 3-day supply of canned and packaged food, bottled water and other liquids. A garden hose and indoor faucet adapter, or buckets of water and a stirrup pump. Water purification tablets. Blankets for your family. If you have this emergency shelf, enemy attack will not catch you unprepared. If attack does come, your practiced plan will pay off. Do not use your phone. It must be reserved for vital emergency messages. Clearly mark the radio dial setting at 640 and 1240 so that you can receive official news and civil defense instructions on the Conelrad frequency used in your area. Your life may depend on this. Train to give prompt first aid to the injured in your family, training that can serve you in any time of emergency. Train to fight small fires, know-how which may serve you well in any catastrophe. This is the plan to help you and others who need you, a plan to live, to work, and fight, as did your forefathers. Now, let's check the plan together step by step. Check. You practice fireproof housekeeping all the time. Check. You have some type of firefighting equipment to fight small fires, and you know how to use it. Check. You have canned and packaged food, canned milk, fruit juices, and water to last your family 3 days. Check. You know the Conelrad radio alert may be the first warning of enemy attack. Prepare to take shelter and obey instructions instantly. Check. Your battery radio and your auto radio have the Conelrad stations clearly marked at 640 and 1240. Check. You have a civil defense first aid disaster kit, and at least one member of your family is trained in first aid. Check. Make sure your utilities are properly tagged for prompt emergency action. Check. Be ready to turn off all gas and electric appliances quickly, where advised by local utilities. Check. Cover windows and close outside doors as you take shelter. Check. If you are directed to take cover while driving, park in the first clear space so as not to block emergency traffic. Check. You have an emergency plan to get to shelter quickly and safely wherever you are. Check. You have taken training courses and read training pamphlets to prepare in advance against enemy attack. Check. You will not touch your telephone after attack. It must be reserved for critical emergency calls. Check. Study and practice your family action civil defense plan now. The plan for prompt action in the face of any disaster. Tornadoes and hurricanes, fires, floods, or enemy attack. You will be prepared. You will know what to do instantly to help ensure the survival of you, your family, your country.
Dum-dum, diddle-dum-dum, diddle-dum-dum, diddle-dum-dum. There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered, ducked and covered.
He did what we all must learn to do. You
And you
and you and you.
duck and cover.
Be sure and remember what Bert the Turtle just did, friends, because every one of us must remember to do the same thing. That's what this film is all about. Duck and cover.
This is an official civil defense film produced in cooperation with the Federal Civil Defense Administration and in consultation with the Safety Commission of the National Education Association.
Produced by Archer Productions, Incorporated. Hey, Bert, come on out and meet all these nice people, please. Oh, all right. We really can't blame you. You see, Bert is a very, very careful fellow. When there's danger, this is the way he keeps from being hurt. Sometimes it even saves his life. That's why these children are practicing to duck and cover just as you do in your school. We all know the atomic bomb is very dangerous. Since it may be used against us, we must get ready for it, just as we are ready for many other dangers that are around us all the time. Fire is a danger. It can burn whole buildings if someone is careless. But we are ready for fires. We have a fine fire department to put out the fire, and you have fire drills in your school so you know what to do. Automobiles can be dangerous, too. They sometimes cause bad accidents, but we are ready. We have safety rules that car drivers and people who are walking must obey. Now, we must be ready for a new danger, the atomic bomb. First, you have to know what happens when an atomic bomb explodes. You will know when it comes. We hope it never comes, but we must get ready. It looks something like this. There is a bright flash, brighter than the sun, brighter than anything you've ever seen. If you were not ready and did not know what to do, it could hurt you in different ways. It could knock you down hard or throw you against a tree or a wall. It is such a big explosion, it can smash in buildings and knock signboards over and break windows all over town. But if you duck and cover like Bert, you will be much safer. You know how bad sunburn can feel. The atomic bomb flash could burn you worse than a terrible sunburn, especially where you're not covered. Now, you and I don't have shells to crawl into like Bert the turtle, so we have to cover up in our own way. First, you duck, and then you cover. And very tightly, you cover the back of your neck and your face. Duck and cover underneath a table or desk or anything else close by. In Betty's school, they are talking about the atomic bomb, too. Betty is asking her teacher, how can we tell when the atomic bomb may explode? And her teacher is explaining that there are two kinds of attack, with warning and without any warning. We think that most of the time we will be warned before the bomb explodes, so there will be time for us to get into our homes, schools, or some other safe place. Our civil defense workers and our men in uniform will do everything they can to warn us before enemy planes can bring a bomb near us. You may be in your schoolyard playing when the signal comes. That signal means to stop whatever you are doing and get to the nearest safe place fast. Always remember, the flash of an atomic bomb can come at any time, no matter where you may be. You might be out playing at home when the warning comes. Then be sure to get into the house fast, where your parents have fixed a safe place for you to go. If you are not close to home when you hear the warning, go to the nearest safe cover. Know where you are to go, or ask an older person to help you. You know the places marked with the S sign? They're safe places to go when you hear the alarm. If there is a warning, you will hear it before the bomb explodes. But sometimes, and this is very, very important, sometimes the bomb might explode without any warning. Then the first thing we would know about it would be the flash. And that means duck and cover fast, wherever you are. There's no time to look around or wait. Be like Bert. When there is a flash, duck and cover, and do it fast. Here are some older boys showing what to do if the flash comes when you are not in the classroom. This is what to do if you should be in a corridor. You duck and cover tight against the wall this way. Remember to keep your face and the back of your neck covered tightly. Try to fall away from windows or doors with glass in them. Then, if the glass breaks and flies through the air, it won't cut you. You might be eating your lunch when the flash comes. Duck and cover under the table. Then, if the explosion makes anything in the room fall down, it can't fall on you. Getting ready means we will all have to be able to take care of ourselves. The bomb might explode when there are no grown-ups near. Paul and Pathé know this, and they're always ready to take care of themselves. Here they are on their way to school on a beautiful spring day. But no matter where they go or what they do, they always try to remember what to do if the atom bomb explodes right then. It's a bomb. Duck and cover. Paul and Patty know what to do. Paul covered the back of his head so that he wouldn't be burned, and Patty covered herself with the coat she was carrying. They knew how to duck and cover. They acted right away when the flash came. If they had been at this doorway when the bomb flashed, Paul and Patty would have ducked and covered this way, like this girl. Heavy doorways are a good place to duck and cover. She will be safer, too. Here's Tony going to his Cub Scout meeting. Tony knows the bomb can explode any time of the year, day or night. He is ready for it. Duck and cover. Attaboy, Tony. That flash means act fast. Tony knows that it helps to get to any kind of cover. This wall was close by, so that's where he ducked and covered. Tony knew what to do. Notice how he keeps from moving or from getting up and running? He stays down until he is sure the danger is over. The man helping Tony is a civil defense worker. His job is to help protect us when there is danger of the atomic bomb. We must obey the civil defense worker. We must know how to duck and cover in the school bus or in any other bus or streetcar. Duck and cover. Don't wait. Duck away from the windows fast. The glass may break and fly through the air and cut you. Sundays, holidays, vacation time, we must be ready every day, all the time, to do the right thing if the atomic bomb explodes. Duck and cover. This family knows what to do, just as your own family should. They know that even a thin cloth helps protect them. Even a newspaper can save you from a bad burn. But the most important thing of all is to duck and cover yourself, especially where your clothes do not cover you. No matter where we live, in the city or the country, we must be ready all the time for the atomic bomb. Duck and cover. That's the first thing to do, duck and cover. The next important thing to do after that is to stay covered until the danger is over. Yes, we must all get ready now so we know how to save ourselves if the atomic bomb ever explodes near us. If you do not know just what to do, ask your teacher when this film is over. Discuss what you could do in different places if a bomb explodes. Older people will help us as they always do, but there might not be any grown-ups around when the bomb explodes. Then, you're on your own.
Remember what to do, friends. Now tell me right out loud. What are you supposed to do when you see the flash?
Duck and cover. Duck and cover. Duck and cover.
It's the mayor.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the reports that enemy planes are approaching. In less than 3 hours, an H-bomb might fall over Portland.
Like myself, I think you're going to be very interested in this story that we're going to tell you. And in this age of missiles and man-made moons, it takes on added significance. There are no actors in this story, but there are a lot of people. The people of the city of Portland, Oregon, and what happened to them, or could happen to them, on a day that we'll call X. This is the land between the mountains and the sea, between the snow-capped crater of Mount Hood and the Pacific. It's tall timber country. And this is the city, largest dry cargo port on the Pacific coast. And its people are friendly and rugged in the tradition of the Oregon Trail. Population, about 415,000, more or less about the size of Hiroshima. And this is what happened, or could happen, on a certain day called X. The sun came up at 6:31. Joe Foteff was there to observe and chronicle the event. The paper, Joe noted, was a little heavier than usual, but naturally he didn't stop to read the headline. And Mrs. Frank Stufel, Portland housewife, mother of 5, was concerned at 8:02.
John, it's time to get up. You'll be late for school.
Children late and coffee boiling. And with these problems duly appraised, she turned to the woman's page of the Oregonian, thus managing to avoid the front page, which, after all, contained nothing but scare headlines. The time?
The time is 8:27. Wake up, Portland. It's a wonderful day today. Stay tuned to KOIN for the best in music and news. And now, we continue our wake-up show with more transcribed tunes.
At 8:36, the population of Portland increased by 1. Timothy James made his first comment at a local hospital and settled down to life in the 20th century. Like all communities, religion is important. The people, like its church architecture, are forward-thinking. At 9, a special service is being held. And at the busy port, at 9:18, Ray Matthews, a longshoreman, loaded scrap iron bound for Japan. At 9:37, at the Central Fire Station, the men were busy with their morning chores, scrubbing hose, cleaning ladders, and shining the pumper. By 10 that morning, at the Harvey Scott School, the kindergarten class of Elsie McGlendon was much involved with the morning's activities.
Order, the clerk will call the roll.
Bean, Booty, Bowes, Earl.
And the twice-weekly meeting of the city council was much involved, too. A matter of sewer maintenance was one of the problems up for discussion. At police headquarters, the messages at 10:31 so far indicated 2 cars stolen, a drunken disorderly. An average day in an average American city.
Number 126, stolen auto 1425 Ash, 10-4.
126, cat in a tree, 14 in Ankeny.
Except this day. This day is the one called X.
Attention all stations, emergency. This is an air raid warning and Conrad radio alert. Repeat, this is an air raid warning and Conrad radio alert. Enemy aircraft are over the Aleutians. Stand by for warning time. This is Western. Prepare to copy timed information. Time to Seattle, 2 hours, 30 minutes.
Portland warning point. Air raid warning. Enemy aircraft over Canada and Alaska. Time to Portland, 3 hours, 15 minutes.
Thank you. I'll notify the mayor.
At 10:32, Jack Lowe, the city's civil defense director, receives the words. Enemy planes have crossed the pole. Probably they carried H-bombs. Likely 1, maybe 2 are headed for Portland. The mayor is alerted.
Mr. Clerk, gentlemen of the council, I've just received the information that enemy planes are approaching this area. I've just authorized the sounding the evacuation signal. The council will be in recess and we'll immediately reassemble at the Emergency Operations Center.
And so this day called X, which began in such an ordinary way, is no ordinary day. At 10:35, the banshee wail of the siren echoes the warning, and the city prepares for survival. 99 cities in the United States are considered critical targets, and Portland is just one of them. And it's so hard to know in advance how any man will react when that day comes. There will be those like Ben Conrad the mechanic, who has heard the sirens before in practice, and who will disregard them. And there are those like Tom Cook who can't go. He's one of the power load dispatchers for all electric power in the Northwest. These men are expendable. Others can and do go.
The time is 10:47. This is a Conrad radio alert. Normal broadcasting will be discontinued for an indefinite period. Civil defense information will be broadcast in most areas at 6:40 or 12:40 on your regular radio receiver. I repeat, this is a Conrad radio alert. Normal broadcasting will be discontinued for an indefinite period. Civil defense information will be broadcast in most areas at 6:40 or 12:40 on your regular radio receiver.
When the siren sounds, some cities go underground, take to shelter, particularly if there's little warning. But Portland evacuates according to a well-thought-out plan. The question is at 10:45, on the day called X, will it work? Quietly, without panic, the city organizes, becomes mobile the best it can. Civil defense is not apart from normal city functioning. The same utilities involved in caring for a city in peace are those equipped to care for her in an emergency. And when the siren sounds, each man knows his responsibility. Public buildings follow a pattern well learned in practice. The idea, to move out of the city, to move fast, but with caution. Like other Portland mothers, Mrs. Stufel moves her family to a pre-arranged location outside the city beyond radiation range with necessary supplies. Timothy James and his mother go for an unexpected ride in a moving van in his first day of life. Now, at 10:50, in this hour of decision, the seat of local government is moved to a point some 6 miles out of town. Buried in a hill is a blast-proof, radiation-proof operations center where government can continue to function. Evacuation can be controlled, and if necessary, the city can be reorganized. The Portland plan revolves around the local government with Mayor Terry Shrunk its head. Government must survive if its people are to survive. Civil defense is government operating in an emergency.
Mayor now. Morning, Mr. Mayor.
Morning,
the situation looks pretty bad right now. We don't know exactly what's happening, but we do have planes over Alaska and Canada.
Ladies and gentlemen, You've heard the reports that enemy planes are approaching. In less than 3 hours, an H-bomb might fall over Portland. Mr. Jack Lowe, our Civil Defense Director, will coordinate activities here. Jack, what's the situation?
Mr. Mayor, according to our latest reports from CONAD, enemy planes are still headed this way at 450 knots. That will put them just about there on the Alaska-Canadian border. I'd say we still have about 2.5 hours if Portland is where they intend to make a drop.
What's the condition of the evacuation movement
Well,
now?
we have very scanty reports now because it's only been 15 minutes, but we can check with the police and with the traffic engineer and see if we get what information we have. I have no information yet as to how it's progressing.
By 10:55, the heads of utilities, Red Cross, Military Liaison, Civil Air Patrol, Weather Bureau, and all city departments are functioning as a civil defense team. While city commissioners and bureau heads remain behind working with their departments at the emergency seat of government, their families are among those evacuating. By 11, the operations officer is receiving reports on the evacuation of the city, and he is the reporter of the day, traffic, time, weather, and in the operations center's broadcast studio, the time is...
The time is 11:10. This is an official civil defense broadcast. Enemy aircraft are over Canada and headed this way. Normal broadcasting has been discontinued until after this emergency has passed. You are now tuned to Conelrad and will receive official information and instruction on this frequency. Keep your radio tuned to this frequency. Remember, there is a traffic plan for the evacuation of the city. All cars in the downtown area must follow the green lights. They will lead you out of the danger area by the quickest route. Do not try to cross the flow of traffic. Follow the green lights. Turn with traffic. Proceed with care.
John Carpenter, a sportscaster, becomes the warning voice. The people of Portland know his voice. Trust it. In 1955, Portland held a practice mass evacuation. The heart of the city was cleared in 34 minutes. It's safe to say that practice evacuation will be responsible for saving a great many lives this day. Should a bomb fall, many will be killed. The more that move out of the city, the greater the chances of survival. Pedestrians are helped out of the city. The great dangers are jam-ups and bottlenecks. Whirling over the city, a police helicopter reports traffic movement to the operations center.
Copter 1 to dispatcher. Copter 1 to dispatcher.
Copter 1, go ahead.
Barber and Slavin traffic moving very slowly, bumper to bumper. Suggest 1 or 2 lanes be diverted east on Hamilton. Over.
10-4, 11:31.
And at 11:32, at the operations center, Police Chief Hillbrunner receives a suggestion, and with traffic engineer Fred Fowler, he works out a way to divert traffic. Motorcycle policemen are sent to split the load onto a side road. There's no way of knowing if Portland actually is an enemy target. But with 3 hours of warning, and the time fading fast, it's vital that all roads lead to safety, that all roads be kept open, allowing people to evacuate from the potential target area. Meantime, county and state police halt and divert incoming traffic away from the target area. Should a bomb fall, fire and utility equipment must be available to move back into the city to restore services. And so trucks of all sizes, of all varieties, speed to points outside the city by a detailed plan. By 11:45, the men and equipment have arrived at the dispersal areas away from the target. Auxiliary police and auxiliary firemen are also in action.
This is serious business, man. We anticipate attack. Secure your vehicles as best you can. Turn off the ignition. Put on the tarps on the fire apparatus. Take the radiation instruments with you. Move immediately to dispersal area. Move as quickly as you can to dispersal cover. I say again, move to dispersal cover.
the dispersal area, in local public buildings, emergency kitchens are in operation. Rumors are everywhere. Facts are hard to find. But back underground, at the operations center, with time running out, only facts are considered.
According to information we have just received from Western Air Defense Command, the situation remains the same. Enemy aircraft are still approaching in this direction. If they continue on this same course, we can expect an attack in this area anytime after 21:47 Greenwich time. That is 1:47 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And now I would like a brief situation report from all departments on how we stand. First, John, what is the fallout situation?
Well, Jack, according to our latest weather information, the winds will continue in a northeasterly direction at about 10 knots. Let's face facts, gentlemen. If we have a blast on target, downtown Portland, it will be hours and probably days before we can get back in.
Engineering, Gordon Burt.
We have reports that 80% of the city-owned and public utility equipment have been successfully evacuated from the city. However, there is one group of electric company trucks caught on the west side. We're working now on a plan to get them out.
Fire Department, Chief Simpson.
The fire department's initial dispersal plan is in effect. Several units have already moved out to their respective dispersal points. Engine 24 and Engine 30 are currently fighting a residential fire, and they will stay on the job until this fire has been controlled.
Police, Chief Hillbruner.
As for police activities, the city is about 65% evacuated. Traffic appears to be moving at about 15 miles an hour outbound. The state and county police have set up an effective roadblock diverting inbound traffic, thus enabling us to use all lanes for outbound traffic.
Emergency medical, Dr. Metter.
City hospitals are continuing to evacuate. Emergency hospital units are functioning in Forest Grove and Mount Angels. Others should be heard from soon. You might be interested in knowing that en route, one boy and twins were born.
Gus Lang, welfare.
As the reports continue, it is obvious that the Portland plan is working smoothly. Only 7 years earlier, Portland had no civil defense. It was then that the idea that civil defense was not to be separated from normal government evolved. And in 1952, a 1 mil tax levy to finance the plan was put on the ballot by unanimous decision of the City Council. After civil defense leaders went out and campaigned, the people voted to tax themselves to protect themselves. And later, the city charter was amended to assure continuity of government, so that in an emergency like this, should the executive branch become casualties, they would automatically be replaced by a legally established line of succession of other experienced city officials. The people, as now and after the emergency, are assured of continuity of their government.
Schools report complete evacuation. There's no panic among the children. They've rehearsed this before. Reports from industries indicate approximately 90% evacuation. I think we're doing quite well.
And so, at 1:25, with some 22 minutes till 0 hour, Portland seems to be doing quite well. Should a bomb fall now, city officials and city services will be able to carry on. And meantime, vital messages are passed on to maintain contact with state and county headquarters.
Okay.
W7SAA from W7BS.
Upstairs in this unique underground operations center, an emergency telephone system is functioning as the details of evacuation are reported and relayed. Part of the civil defense levy went to a comprehensive microfilming project supervised by Will Gibson, city auditor. More than 3 million documents and records that go back to the first handwritten city council minutes in 1851 have been microfilmed. Duplicates of laws and the engineering records without which the city cannot function are here. And so, in time of disaster, records are preserved. And now, with a moment to breathe, some can take time for coffee in a built-in cafeteria. It's time to talk of families which have been evacuated. And it's time to be alone and think of the future. And there's even time for those who need it now to rest. 300 can live here for a week, eat, sleep, and breathe. The Operations Center has its own water supply, its own electric power, even its own purified air. At 1:30, on this day called X, the air outside is strange and silent. Almost all its people have gone. And at 1:32, as directed by the mayor, the siren sounds once more. Take cover. The evacuation is stopped, and there is nothing to do but wait. Back in the Operations Center, the day called X reaches its climax.
Time now, 1:47. Enemy bombers are probably overhead.
What happened after that moment, we leave you to contemplate. But one thing is certain, Portland has a plan for the survival of its people and the continuity of its government. And you know, actually, the survival of this entire nation depends upon the ability of federal, state, and local governments to carry out their responsibilities in the event of a massive nuclear attack. Each new scientific development in the weapons of war presents a new challenge. And the people of Portland, through working together, they're ready. If there really were a day called X. How about you?